So Michelle, this is our 50th podcast together. It is though.
That's too many. No.
50.
That's a lot of podcasts.
Go.
Why would we do that?
I don't know. So we're almost to our year, because I believe our first episode was like the week after Halloween last year.
Okay.
I'm almost certain it was, because I didn't want to do our podcast when I was launching Weekly Spooky. I wanted a break from, that. So, oh my God, that means in like 3 weeks I'll have ran 2 continuous podcasts for 1 year. Are you about to sneeze?
Yeah.
Go on, sneeze.
No,
it'll be your first time sneezing on the show, and it's 50.
It went away. Maybe later.
That means your soul just went back into your body. But no, we've done 50. We've sat down and talked a bunch of smack 50 times.
Wow.
I mean, is that what you're gonna go with? Just wow.
Yes. I mean, I don't know.
Well, I'm aware that you prepared something you wanted to say to the people who've been listening the whole time. So I'm gonna let you. Yeah. So I'm gonna let you take it away, because I know I'm a blabbermouth, and sometimes I take too much time on the show. So it is yours to let people know exactly how you feel about 50 episodes. All you.
I didn't know it was 50 episodes, or that it's almost been a year, and I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
I think we talked about this a couple weeks ago, but like time compression's super weird right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I simultaneously feel like it's been forever since COVID, and also like it just started.
Yeah.
All
the
time.
Me too.
Also, motorcycles are bitching.
Yeah, I think they're going somewhere now, so it shouldn't be too long.
Why would they go somewhere on a motorcycle when they could just stand there revving it?
Bye, motorcycle.
They were celebrating 50 episodes. I could hear as they were revving, as they were driving, they're like, congrats on 50 episodes.
Yay. If I like leaned out of my house and I told him, he would congratulate me.
He's a super nice guy.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to break the recipe for success of this program having 50 episodes. Therefore, I've prepared nothing to talk about. Because why would it be different today? I mean, we have done episodes where we prepared things, but slowly, as my work from home has gotten more and more intense, I've been more and more likely to try to come up with it on a shower before the day of,
Mm-hmm.
But I guess I could talk about 2 things that happened that are vaguely related. Not really that related, but I hurt my back like 2 days ago. But I have to point out, like, I didn't throw my back out or anything like that. That's a serious problem. And like, you can't do anything if you like throw your back out. I just strained like right under my right shoulder blade.
Oh, that's a weird place.
It feels weird. And I Googled it. It's not cancer. So
wow, did you find something that came up as not cancer?
When I Googled pain under my left or under my right shoulder blade, it said that if it was under my left, I should worry.
Okay.
So we're not about cancer, but anyway, but no, so, but it's just been hurting, and naturally, yay 34, I don't even remember hurting it. I just remember getting in the car after I bought groceries and going, oh, and being in pain.
Oh.
So, and it's that good pain where like it makes your breathing like slow for a second. Like you just, when it would pinch, you just be like, So, it's mostly gone now, but, thank goodness. But like, and I'm so fortunate, like it didn't hurt to lay down or anything like that. So I just slept once I was home and done working. That was the worst part though, is my mother would be like, are you okay? And I'd be like, I hurt my back. And she's like, well, what's wrong? And I'm like telling it to her. And she's like, well, can you rest? And I'm like, in 3 hours. Yes. And she's like, why not now? And I'm like, cause I'm working. Like I have to get this done. And then mom will be like, well, can't you do it? And naturally I'm like, No, because I was co-hosting a friend's podcast and doing an interview, and I can't. Those are not things I can just push to tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, yesterday was the first day it started to feel a lot better in the morning. But then, in my infinite wisdom, I attempted to install a new toilet seat, and that was a mistake. First of all, I'd never installed a toilet seat before.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So I go, what would you do? I go to YouTube and look up how do you install a toilet seat. They explain how to install a toilet seat, and I'm like, wow, this is nice and simple. I just need a wrench and I need a flathead screwdriver. And I'm like, wow, this is so easy. So then the new toilet seat was supposed to get here on Monday. It didn't. It got here Tuesday. So I had an extra day of sitting on a broken toilet seat, which is always fun. It's not that bad. You just don't adjust your weight or it will move and then you're having a bad time. And I think I told you I accidentally came up with puns. Like I was just like, somebody was like, what happened? I was like, my toilet seat's broken. And they're like, that sucks. I'm like, yeah, it's a pain in the ass. And then I was like, and then when I was installing the toilet seat, I realized I was trying to make it flush, and that made me laugh for like my entire life.
Yeah, that's a good one. I like that one.
But I wasn't even trying to be funny. I was just asking the question in my own mind. All right, let's just get it flush. So anyway, I take the old toilet seat off, which was a decent toilet seat. It had given me about 7 years of good service. And it was like a $30 toilet seat. Now, the reason I didn't install that is that I bought one, and my roommate just, when I came home, he was just like, I installed the toilet seat. And I was like, oh, cool. Back when I had a roommate. And I was like, oh, cool. And that was it. He just installed it. So whatever. And he said it wasn't very difficult. So anyway, so I popped the toilet seat off because it has the little locks, you know, that you so you can take it off for cleaning. So I popped the seat itself off, and then I undo the locks, the whatever holds the seat on. I undo those, which, you know, I needed a screwdriver and a wrench. And then as soon as they're off, I open up the new seat, and it's nothing like the old one. Which is extra weird because I bought the exact same one on Amazon that I had bought the first go around, but they're not the same.
I guess not anymore. It's been long enough, you know?
Yeah, but I literally went to the same page. Like I thought they'd be identical. So, it turns out it was just a completely different thing. It didn't need a screwdriver. That's number one.
Oh, really?
It didn't need a screwdriver, just a wrench. And the directions were so bad that I tried screwing everything together, I think 3 times, and each time I failed.
Wow.
And now the problem is, though, as it went, I got more and more frustrated, and I started hurting my back from bending down, because everything I saw was like, put on a new toilet seat in like 6 minutes. And instead I'm like sweating over my toilet that I just like scrubbed clean because I knew I was going to be like hanging over it and touching it. So I'm like, I'm just like, great, this is what I want. I want to like hang out on my toilet. So I'm like, I'm dealing with that, and I'm getting angrier and angrier, and I'm in the middle of trying to record Weekly Spooky, and I stopped to install this toilet seat because I'm sick of sitting on a friggin' broken toilet seat, and my back is aching, and it's giving me all kinds of problems, and I'm getting stressed and pissed off. And Rachel was here because she's actually producing what will be my next movie soon. And she was doing stuff in the garage, getting props and stuff together to find out what we had, doing a catalog or whatever. And she hears me like just swearing, and she comes in and she's like, "You're hurting your back." And I'm like, "I know, my back hurts so much." And she's like, "What's the problem?" And I'm like, I showed her the instructions. I'm like, I've read these instructions over and over, and I keep doing it wrong. So Rachel's like, just go sit in your office. So I just go sit in my office, and 11 minutes later, she comes in and she's like, I installed the toilet seat. And I'm like, thank you. And then she's like, it didn't show in the directions, but you had the pieces that were being screwed into place upside down.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
And then the second she said that, I went, oh, frick, it would have like just slid right into place if it had been upside down, I bet. Because it wouldn't slide into place. I kept trying and trying and trying and trying. So she installs the toilet seat, And then to add insult to injury, she uses it. So she used my toilet seat first.
No.
She took it on its maiden voyage.
No, I mean, maybe she does get that because she installed
That
it.
privilege.
So, yeah.
Well, then the funniest part was that then, I was fixing it later and I was like, she didn't make it flush. Anyway, but this is all very important because it is a slow close toilet seat. And I recently put to Facebook asking people like, low close or slow close toilet seats are something very important to me. And I asked people like, what is your thing that like once you started doing that, you would never go back? And I told people they couldn't say smartphones because I think that's the way it is for nearly everybody. I remember the moment I had the internet in my hand on my phone, I was like, yeah, I could never go back to the way phones were. Like ever,
Yeah. Yeah.
So I asked people, and I wanted to pull that up real quick if I could find it. But I just asked my friends and people that I know on Facebook, hey, like, what's that thing you would never go back on? Do you have a thing that you would never go back?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, I
wasn't
sure if you were
the other host on the show.
Well, maybe like you were talking in general to everyone, or like you were just continuing your thought about Facebook.
Just admit it, you zoned out for a second.
I did not zone out. No. I think I responded to your post, so I could say that one.
Say that one. It's more interesting.
Okay. So I think I said like a drawing tablet, like some sort of tablet where I can draw on the surface of it. Because like it's just really incredibly helpful. It's either that or I draw on paper, and I actually prefer drawing on paper. It's just a better experience.
Sure.
It's easier to get straight lines and all that stuff. But if you're doing anything that like you're going to put it online or it's going to go somewhere to be published, not that happens very often, but if it is, it's much easier to just do it straight onto a digital media thing because you don't have to, I don't have to scan it in, and I like draw really, really light. And when I draw on paper, I'm drawing with like pen because I'm just like doodling and stuff. But when I draw, like try to make things look nice on paper, I'm drawing with pencil, and so it's like super light because I don't push very hard. So like I'll scan things and it'll be like, I'm not really sure where these lines were supposed to be, and I'll have to like go back and try to figure it out, and it's really like a mess.
You should just wear a wrist weight on your arm while you're drawing.
I don't know if it would help. Honestly.
I'm just trying to help you, okay?
I mean, maybe if there were like finger weights or a pencil weight that I could just put on the pencil, so it would just be like I have to, but
the irony, it would probably be made of lead. So you just put more lead on the pencil.
Pencils don't have lead anymore.
It's graphite,
though.
I know. Thanks, Michelle.
But sorry, I just need to know because if pencils had lead in them, then you could get lead poisoning from them. But you can't because it's not lead. So everything is okay.
Okay. So drawing tablet is something you would just never go back.
Yeah. Like, I mean, I could, but it would be very sad. Especially because like before I was drawing with like a pen on a tablet, I was like using a mouse to draw, and it's really, really sucks. And there are people who get like really, really good at it, but it is not fun at all.
Yeah. Even photographers often prefer styluses to do like their photo touch-ups because a mouse is just not natural for like doing that pinpoint stuff. Well, and that's the thing. So because with when it comes to like deal breakers, or when it comes to like I'm not going back things, there, it's like for instance, I mean, there are many things in my life that are like that, but the slow close toilet seat is one of those where like the moment that it broke, I was like, I need another toilet seat, and it has to be just like this one. Like I'm not gonna have one because I already, like in public toilets, I accidentally let the thing slam down now because I'm used to it just gently closing itself, like a friend, like a friend would do that.
I make sure that I put my toilet seat down slowly, like a friend would do for
But
the toilet.
I can't go back from my carefree lifestyle. It's too good.
I it I mean, I've already said this to you about this, but like, but then how do you know if, but like, then what happens if you're angry and you want to slam it down? Doesn't that make you angrier?
How angry do you get in the bathroom? I'm not generally very upset in the bathroom.
I I like the potential that I could accidentally slam the toilet seat and then feel very embarrassed.
Even though you're alone in the house, you're still like, oh God.
Yeah. Well,
Someone
normally,
knows.
yeah, gigs heard it. Oh my
It would
God.
if it was a movie, it would just cut to like your neighbor across the street. And they'd be like, toilet seat.
She must be really angry.
There's this movie called Freaked where these mutant freaks are trying to escape this evil guy who turned them into freaks, and they're sneaking out while he's asleep in the living room, and they keep like knocking over, like at first it's like, oh, they knock over a whatever, like a but eventually it's like they knock over like a drawer full of like utensils, and he doesn't wake up. And then they accidentally set off an alarm, and it's like, whoop, 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 whoop. But then it like cuts to him asleep, and the TV has a cop siren on it too. And he's
Oh.
just asleep. But then as they're about to leave, like, no more screw ups. And they knock over an empty styrofoam cup you would put coffee in.
Mhm.
And like it literally falls and hits the ground. And he just lifts his head up and goes, styrofoam cup. And I always remember that. Anyway, so to me, like, so if I was you, like when you say like I'm never going back from a drawing tablet, that would mean that like if your drawing tablet broke, you would do whatever you could to replace it.
Yeah.
Relatively
Mhm.
immediately. Yeah. Like that's the way I feel. Like anything I'm like, I'm not going back on that. That's like if that breaks and I still need to do the thing that does, I'm like putting it on a credit card because I'm not going to live without it.
Yeah.
But let's see what some other people said. I'm not going to read the ones who were trying to be funny because I was being serious. One guy, MJ Dixon, said he completely agrees on the toilet seats. There's nothing worse now than smashing down a stranger's toilet seat and they look at you when you come out like you're a maniac and you simply say, mine closes slower than that. That's pretty great. Ray Cersei said an ice maker. And I don't know if that's a deal breaker for me, but
Mhm.
I do like having an ice maker. I had my ice maker break once and I just stopped having ice.
Yeah. I
I
don't have
eventually
ice.
fixed it. So you don't,
Yeah.
you don't have ice. You wouldn't.
Yeah, I don't like
Wouldn't.
ice. It dilutes beverages.
Okay, fine. But but no, so but like last time I went to a cabin for a day, they had just ice cube trays.
Mhm.
So I had to fill those, and that wasn't the worst thing in the world, but I also was only there for like 2 days, so it's not like I had to really prepare for the worst. Let's see. Okay, Carolyn Holschalter. I've known her for like my whole life, and I just said her name wrong, and I said her name all hesitant, and now I feel embarrassed. And Carolyn always listens. She said, automatic lights on my car. It's nice to never have to worry if I turn them off.
I know, and I don't have them anymore. And I agree.
You went backwards?
Yeah, and I was so sad.
So on my car, I drive a Toyota Prius. Before that, I drove a Volkswagen Beetle, a 2005 Volkswagen Beetle. The Prius has the automatic off lights entirely.
Mhm.
The Volkswagen had always on running headlights, but you had to flip a thing to turn the rest of the lights on and to make the headlights brighter. And if you shut off the engine and pulled the keys out, it would go beep, like really loud at you and light up the thing in red to turn it off. And I just remember thinking, like,
Wow.
with the technology they used to let me know, why don't they just shut it off? Like,
Yeah, I mean, because I had my car with the daytime running lights was my Subaru, so it was kind of in the middle of those. Like, it had daytime running lights, and then if it got dark, you wanted to put them on brighter because it was just kind of like minimum. But if I turned my car off, all the lights went off, and if I
Yeah.
turned it back on, then my lights were on again.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what it should do.
Yeah, see, the Prius that I have, it literally just has a twist thing to turn the headlights on.
Mm-hmm.
But if you shut the car off, the headlights shut off with it.
Yeah.
Unless they're on bright. Brights stay on. But
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, my car's lights will just stay on forever if I don't turn them off. But it does yell at me if I try to get out of the car. So
I remember when I had the Volkswagen, you couldn't turn the headlights off at all. So if I went to a drive-in movie, I was like, what do I do? And then I found out you just pull the parking brake. That shuts off always on headlights. And then,
Okay.
and because I was at the drive-in over the summer and somebody's headlights wouldn't come off and they were like, I don't know how to shut them off because he was near me. And I said, pull your parking brake. And they like, it literally started, and then like the light went off. Thanks. Okay, so let's see what other people say. Pam said cushion toilet seats and printed toilet paper. I'm not a big fan of cushion toilet seats personally. But I do like better toilet paper. In general, I go with the nicer toilet paper. But it's not a deal breaker. If they don't have it, I don't go, oh man, I just buy whatever toilet paper is there then. So
Yeah.
for me, that's not, but that's the thing is that's why I found this such an interesting thing to ask, because it was like, everybody has a different opinion. Like some of the things people mentioned were things I'm happy to have, but I could take or leave.
Mm-hmm.
But here's one. Cruise control. My buddy Roman Josart said cruise control.
Yeah, I saw that one.
And as I mentioned on there, my first car, the cruise control worked, but the switch to activate it broke. So I had no cruise control for about 10 years. And that's while I was like driving all over America. I got that car with 40,000 miles on it and it died with 216,000 miles on it. And I had no cruise control the entire time. And I remember, I mean, there was an 8-month period I had the car and it had cruise control.
Mm-hmm.
So what you're making a Michelle face. What's that about?
No, I have never used cruise control. I don't
At all?
understand the appeal. I refuse to use it. I will drive 12 hours without cruise control. No big deal.
Okay, boomer.
No, you don't say that because both of my parents are boomers and they use cruise control all the time. I'm just not going to use.
Okay, Luddite millennial. No, well, so when I got my Toyota Prius, it had working cruise control, and I will say I probably used it in 6 or 5 years 20 times. That's low. I consider that like really low. Like I could basically remember every time I was driving a really long distance and I remembered, oh wait, I have cruise control and there's no cars around. So, I'd turn it on and then I'd be like, yay. But like Rachel, she uses her cruise control all the time. It like weirds me out. Like she will turn it on and I'm like, we're on a street that has stop signs or
It does go
stoplights.
off. It goes off.
Yeah, but that's weird. So also, I mean, with one of the benefits of cruise control is higher gas performance.
Mm-hmm.
But like I drive a Prius, so but yeah, so I've driven like 12 hours in the Prius and used my foot the whole way and then went, oh yeah, I could have used cruise control.
Yeah.
It is nice to take your mind off of how fast you're going. Like you just know you're going exactly the speed you want, but only when there are no cars around.
You gotta you gotta be connected with the car. You gotta be like an active driver all the time. So I like not using cruise control, but it does mean sometimes I'm like, wow, I'm going a very fast speed that I didn't realize for the last 20 minutes. But that's also good because if there's not a cop, I get to places much faster.
So basically when you listen to like a La Dispute song, like when the song ends, you're like, oh, I'm driving faster than I thought.
Yeah. Probably not La Dispute, but maybe I'm just like crying. I'm like, oh, whoa, I'm crying and driving very quickly. So
fair enough. So I wouldn't call for me personally cruise control a make or break.
mm-hmm.
And then my friend Laura said an air fryer. I love that thing so much. And then my other friend Laura said, I second air fryer, won't cook chicken another way again.
Cool.
My thought was that's the whitest thing I've ever read in my life. I don't like air fryers at all.
I don't understand them, but I also don't have one. I saw one and I was like, okay, so what are we doing? Are we just cooking the stuff?
It's just a little oven.
That's what it looked like when I saw the picture of the food in it. I was just like, oh, so it's really high heat.
It's a little oven. I'm sorry, like, because I've always asked people, I'm like, hey, what's that? Air fryer. So it fries the food. Yeah, with hot air. So it
So
cooks
an
it with hot
oven.
air. Yeah, it heats the air, and that's what cooks the food. Like an oven. It's an oven. I'm sorry. I don't want to be the guy. Oh, what you got? You got a point?
No, you can finish your point
Oh,
first.
I don't want to be the guy who pisses on their parade. I'm sure that there are elements of how the air fryer works that are different than an oven that are far more convenient that they like.
Yeah, I mean that's what I was gonna say. It's probably a convenience thing, kind of like a toaster oven. I mean, different. I mean, but like it's still easier to use than like putting on the oven, waiting for it to heat up. My house is all warm now. But I still just use the oven, and then I'm hot.
I just don't bake because I'm a man and
Oh,
we don't bake.
okay. Also, I don't bake either usually. I mean, I do sometimes, but I just put food.
I was using the oven the other day to recharge silica packets. And I remember thinking, like, this is the first time I've used the oven in 4 months. It's just, if you heat
In the
silica packets
summer.
carefully, you could dry them out in the oven and reuse them.
I don't think that's a good thing to tell people because
Google it.
houses
I
could go
didn't give
on
any
fire.
details. I didn't give
Okay.
any details. I will say I was surprised how much heat it actually takes to burn paper, like without a direct flame. But
Mhm.
anyway, let's see what other people said. Do. Sarah Randall said a 160 gigabyte iPod. She has 30,000 songs of her choice on shuffle and can't live without it.
I
No, please.
I appreciate that. But that makes me think maybe Spotify is an upgrade that I won't go back from because I don't have to keep gigabytes of music.
Hmm.
I just go like, oh, I really want to listen to this album. Let me download it real fast, kind of deal.
And then when you're
Um,
driving through the mountains of Nepa, you could be like, I guess I don't have music anymore.
but it's downloaded. It's there. Plus, I just use my phone for music that is
Yeah.
on. Yeah,
Well,
I haven't had an iPod in a long time.
so I'm kind of with Sarah. I actually had a 160 gigabyte iPod, but it got stolen from a hotel room.
Yeah, I
But
know.
now I double checked. My cell phone is 256 gigabytes,
Huh.
and I have almost my entire music collection on it.
Yeah.
So I do like carrying. To me, it is like one I won't go back on. I about 5 years ago I bought the iPhone with the biggest possible storage, and now I always buy the iPhone with the biggest possible storage
Hmm.
because I don't like running out of space. And I love being able to take lots of videos and have just an ass load of music. And I have a lot of weird, rare stuff from when I was a teenager that like I either bought CDs at conventions or got it from like Kazaa, and it's just nowhere anymore.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
definitely like having a massive amount of storage.
Hmm.
So uh but you're a Spotify person. See, I love my Spotify and never using cruise control.
No. Maybe. I haven't been using Spotify for that long, and I still listen to CDs.
You do,
So
which I wasn't gonna out you on that. I
no,
didn't
no,
know
no,
if you
no.
wanted to keep that from
No,
being public, but
it's okay. I don't mind everybody knowing. But like so if I'm like, oh, I'm around my house having a normal day type thing, I can just be like, oh, let me just grab this CD and I'll listen to it. Unless I'm like driving and I'm like, oh man, I really want to listen to this album and I don't have it. And so most of my stuff I still just is just on my phone.
yeah.
But newer things like that I'm finding that I like are pretty much just on Spotify now.
You're weird. Let's see other a few people including my friend Andrew Estevez said air conditioning. I have to agree, but I never didn't have it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's like too hard for me to even grasp, like, but it is definitely a deal breaker. If I was moving into a place and they were like no air conditioning, I would be like, well, I got to do something about that. I mean, I've never even lived I lived for 4 months in a rented room that didn't have central air. That's it.
Wow.
I've always had central air, not just air conditioning, central air.
That's pretty cool.
I mean, I'm happy about it.
Yeah, Central Air is nice. I would like Central Air. So,
Oh, hey, somebody said Spotify.
ah,
Brianne Fiona Oaks said Spotify. I mostly use my phone, but when my phone storage, but when I don't, I usually use Amazon's music service because I already get it for free.
that makes sense.
The basic
Yeah.
service, which doesn't have everything, but it has a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And no ads. Michelle Kisner said wireless headphones.
No, I don't like wireless headphones.
So tell me why you don't like wireless headphones.
Oh, I just haven't found any that fit in my ears properly.
Oh yeah, your stupid weird ears.
Yeah.
I just recently started using true wireless headphones, so they're like, individual things you plug into your ears. Overall, I like them. I don't know if I could go back or not. Like, I wear wired headphones from time to time when I need the convenience of just plug in and go. I don't like that they are separated, that they're easy to lose one and not the other necessarily, but they do all come with charged cases now, which keeps them together, which is nice.
Yeah.
My biggest problem is I lose the case with the headphones.
Yeah.
So I almost prefer having like big bulky headphones because then I could find them. But I'm sorry your ears are weird.
It's okay. It's just a really tough beginning of the year when I couldn't find headphones that fit me for like months. It was hard, but it's okay now.
Tuesday Felt said garbage disposal. You don't have one.
No.
Have you ever had one?
Yes. When I lived in Florida, there was a garbage disposal.
When did you live in Florida?
When I was 5. No, 4.
And do you remember the garbage disposal?
There was a garbage disposal, yes. Yeah.
You're like, it's my fondest memory of Florida, as you say wrong. So I had a garbage disposal most of my childhood. And then when I moved into this house, the garbage disposal died and we didn't replace it for like 3 years. So I can take or leave a garbage disposal.
Mm-hmm.
I do like having one. And nothing frustrates me more than when like somebody like cleans up their own plate at my place and I find food all over the non-disposal side. And I'm like, what are you doing to me?
Yeah.
But I could take or leave a garbage disposal, but maybe if I cooked more, as opposed to just baking silica packets and ordering DoorDash. So John Sims gave us 3 of them, and I think one of them we're both going to agree with. He said motorized pedicabs, which I don't know what that is.
Like a motorized cab that is a bike, right? I don't know.
I'm looking it up. Yeah. A cab that's a bike. I have no experience, so I have no opinion on that one. But then he said gas range over electric. And I know you have opinions.
Yes, I do. Do you want me to say
yes,
them?
No, we're podcasting. Keep your shit to yourself.
Gas range is absolutely superior to electric. Not that electric is terrible, and electric has some positives, like there's not open flames, and maybe you have a totally flat surface, so it's easier to clean, things like that. But gas is superior for cooking food. Sorry.
No, it's so fast, and that's the biggest plus. Is it's super quick.
It's also just easier to pay. It's easier to know exactly how much heat you're putting on the thing because you can see the flame, so you can adjust. Really, you can adjust really minutely, which is nice. And then also when you are done using when the food is done and you turn off the thing, it's just off. You don't have to move it. You don't have to move your pots.
Yeah,
the thing's
it's not
cool
super
down.
hot. Yeah. It doesn't remain hot. I overall like a gas range more, although I've really grown to like my my ceramic top stove because number one, it does get hot faster than the coil stove that I used to have.
Good.
Because I actually heated up a bowl of soup today in like 4.5 minutes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah.
Because I remember I put the soup on the stove and I already had my sandwich and I was eating my sandwich. I was like, oh, once my sandwich is done, I'll go over there and stir it and see how it's doing. And then I'll eat my soup. And literally I heard my soup bubbling while I was eating my sandwich. I was like, oh shit. Yay. Soup and sandwich at the same time. What am I, a Kennedy? But I I was very, but I used to hate it because I was like, it gets dirty so quick and you have to clean it. And then I remembered, yeah, your coil stove got really dirty too. You just never cleaned it.
Mm-hmm.
You just never like got in there and cleaned it very well. So I do actually like that, like the dirt and grime, it's right there and you just scrub it off. And then
Yeah,
it's totally clean. So that part I do like, and it's a totally flat surface whenever you need a totally flat surface. You could, if you don't need any stovetops, you could use it for, you could put cutting boards on it and, all kinds of, it's just a
that's
totally
true.
flat surface. But
That's true.
overall, I would rather have a gas range if I could choose though.
Mm-hmm.
I would.
Yeah, I honestly don't think it's a deal breaker for me. Like if I found a house that I really, really liked and it didn't have gas service, actually it might be because then I would be using electric heat and that might be a deal breaker because it's
Yeah.
really expensive. But if they were like, we just didn't run a gas pipe to the stove for some dumb reason, I'd probably be okay with it. I'd just be kind of sad all the time for the rest of my life.
I had I only had a gas range for 2 years while I lived in New Jersey. My apartment had a gas range and I liked it a lot.
Yeah.
I love
I
that you could be like, I want an egg and be eating an egg in like less than a minute.
Yeah. I had a electric range once when I lived in an apartment. I think it was just once. And honestly, like I got so impatient, like my food wasn't cooked all the way a lot of times because I'd be like, is it time to put the pasta in the water? And it just wouldn't be. And I just gave up and just put it in anyway. So
Here's one I feel like you would understand. Courtney Clark said temperature controlled electric kettle.
yeah, I'd never go back. Never. Oh my God, never.
I've spent time with you and watched you use your electric kettle like 3 or 4 times a day.
Yeah, I mean, at least. Yeah.
Because you just plug it in and then you have boiling water and you're done, right?
Yeah, exactly. And it's pretty easy to clean. Like a normal teapot that you put on the stove, in my experience, you can only use it for so long before it's like there's stuff in there and it's really hard to get out and you need a new one. Yeah. Electric kettles are great. Totally great. Yeah.
The face you made was like you were being sarcastic. Totally great. Whatever. So Steph said heated steering wheel. I've never had one. But right under that, a guy named Mike said heated seats.
Mm-hmm.
So Volkswagens come standard with heated seats.
Oh.
And that was the first car I ever had. So I thought that was just an average thing. And then when I got the Prius, there's no heated seats. And I got to admit, I thought that would be a big deal. I thought I would be very bothered by the lack of heated seats. I forgot all about it.
I agree. My last car had heated seats and my Honda Fit thing doesn't have heated seats. And honestly, don't really care. It's not that big of a deal.
I do miss turning on someone's heated seats without telling them.
Yeah, that's always fun.
I always liked, because I would have like a female friend in the car and I would just turn their heated seat on and then eventually they'd go like, is my ass getting warmer? And I would always say, I have that effect on women. Let's see. I think that is probably going to be it for ones that we know anything about. Jack Kerr did say one that I really loved, which he said round wagon wheels. Those square ones sucked. We got several people who said bidet. I've never used a bidet, so I can't. GPS. I couldn't go back to printing out MapQuest directions.
God, I think if I were gonna go back to that point, I would probably just skip MapQuest and just get maps because MapQuest was so hard to deal with. And at least if I had a map, like I wouldn't have to like stop at a truck stop and ask what I'm doing. So
yeah, we had at least 3 bidets. One guy said hot sauce, which just blew my mind because I'm like, I don't remember a time there wasn't hot sauce. But that's me and my upbringing.
I mean, I can understand that. My family is really big on spicy food, but I'm not huge on spicy food, but within the last like 2 or 3 years, I've decided I really like hot sauce. So it's on a lot of things now. And
what's your favorite hot sauce?
I'm not that into hot sauce that I have a favorite.
Well, what hot sauces are like in your home right now?
I just have like sriracha, and then I have the that Korean hot sauce that I would say it, but I actually don't know how to pronounce that word, and I'd be really embarrassed.
Those are
It's like
those are
sweet.
good hot sauces.
Yeah.
So there's nothing wrong with the sriracha. My mother got me like a bottle of fancy sriracha, and I couldn't believe the difference.
Oh.
I mean, like they're both good, cheap and fancy, but I was like, wow, the fancy stuff. I was like putting it on macaroni and cheese with a monocle in and stuff. Like, we have one last one. It's from my good buddy Ray Mattis. I know you haven't met Ray, but he's a musician I work with often on my movies, and he lives in Philly.
Mhm.
And Ray said, and I thought you would like this one. It's a longer one, but it's pertinent to your interests. He said, without question, for me, it's recording music to a computer as opposed to a multi-track recorder.
Oh my God, yeah.
It's opened up a world of possibilities, both compositionally and tonally. Also, it's made recording music for film that much easier. Prior to computer recording, I had to use a stopwatch to time the scene, then figure out the tempo, number of bars, etc., using my questionable math skills. It sucked if I was off even 100th of a second, then I'd have to record everything over again.
Oh my God, yeah.
And I want to say, because Ray has scored many of my films and done an incredible job, he only got the computer recording set up about 1.5 years, 2 years ago. He was using multi-track.
Oh my God.
I mean, like a nice one, but very recently.
Wow.
He used to just dump it into GarageBand because he didn't have like a powerful Mac. He would dump the mix down into GarageBand to line things up. But like, yeah, he was hardcore. So have you done any recording from just a multi-track without a computer at all?
No. Honestly, even when I was doing like recording, we were pretty much just using computers, like soundboards to computers and stuff like that. Sorry.
Spoiled millennials.
It was, it's really funny. If I had gone to school like a couple years earlier, I would have been recording, not to computers, potentially to like actual tape stuff, and that would have been scary.
To wax cylinders.
Yeah, to wax cylinders. Yeah.
See, now you and I have the opposite thing, and that's extra interesting because you're just a smidge older than me. Because if I had went to film school, I never went to film school, but if I had went to film school just 2 or 3 years later than I would have, when I would have went to high school or college, if I'd went to college,
Mhm.
they would have allowed digital video in film classes. But when I was a teenager looking at film schools, everything had to be shot on celluloid. So you're talking like, your 3-minute short would cost you like $1,000.
I was gonna say, like, what?
I'm dead serious.
Wow.
And some film schools took 10 years from when I was, so like by 2010, 2015, they were starting to say, okay, you can use a video camera.
So, because because like you're right, it is reversed. So would they like expect you to buy?
Well, you don't buy the equipment, just the film and processing and transfer to video if needed.
Oh my God, that's crazy.
When my mother wanted me to go to film school and was willing to support it, we were looking at it costing $80,000 with cost of films. I knew people who'd went to film school and their thesis film, the final film they have to make to graduate, cost them like 15 grand.
Yeah, I don't understand. I mean, like so I understand like if there's not another option and you just got to do it. But if there's any other option, I don't understand.
Well, and some of the schools would let you shoot on Super 8 like to save money, but most of them it was 16 millimeters, so like $120 for 3 minutes of film.
Wow.
And that's not including developing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So so yeah, that was one of the big contributing factors in me never going to school, film school, was that and I hate school. So
yeah,
just I do. So, but you went to school. Good for you. Good for you.
Yay, good for me.
What's the most valuable thing you got out of going to college?
it sucks because there's no way they're gonna see both of our faces
Yeah,
going
yeah.
back and forth. um, uh, Potentially just independence.
Mhm.
And maybe okay. Uh, I had one of like my first EP recorded as a project for a recording class. So probably like stuff like that.
Mhm.
Um um and maybe like music theory stuff. But yeah, that.
I've always heard that it's good for networking and for discipline.
Okay. I
If you
mean,
graduate, I mean, because you have to start something and finish something that takes like 4 years.
I could see the discipline. Networking only works if you have social capital and you know how to network. If you don't, it does not work. Because I don't know anybody that, you know.
I was talking to a friend the other day about how the most valuable class I had in all of my 2 years of high school was the career development class, because they taught me how to make a resume, and they taught me, this is the best part, they taught me what networking is, not how to do it, but just that it was a thing and it was valuable.
That's interesting.
Like, they taught you, like, oh yeah, if you like know a person, then later down the line you can call them, for help with something.
Mhm.
But not like, here's how you be outgoing, or like, here's where you go to meet. Nothing like that. Nothing that was like, but in classic educational circumstance, they gave me the theoretical concept.
That's
I'm in
funny.
a lot less debt than you.